Hey, it's Phil Matthew here from followphilandtomplus.com. I'd like to welcome you here tonight. We're in Melbourne, Australia, and you're where you are. I've got Tom here. How you going, Tom?
Hey, how you going?
Oh, have a listen to Tom here. He said the reason he's sounding a little bit unenthusiastic is he's had 4 teeth. I think 6 teeth extracted.
Dad, how many
6
times
wisdom.
do I have to tell you?
Here we go.
How many times do I have to tell you about the extra 2 wisdom teeth that I have than everybody else in the world? Okay, you always paint it on.
Anyway, he's had 6 wisdom teeth extracted from his mouth, which was last Monday.
Oh,
So
wait,
he's
no, he had it extracted from his ear. Where else is he going to get it taken from?
There's a few little comments from the Peanut Gallery. How are you, Janine?
I'm good. Hi, everyone.
Here we are on the podcast. So we just come here with a bit of an open mind, and it's only going to go for 15 minutes. It won't be going longer than that. We have drawn on a little bit longer in the past, but I'm a fickler for keeping things.
You're a fickler.
A fickler for keeping things productive and for time.
You're full of
What's
shit.
the topic?
Is what you are.
What's the topic tonight, Tom?
The topic tonight is why are you so full of shit? Why? How can you sit there and say you're a fickler for time when you're the one who talks the most?
Okay, what Tom's trying to explain there is we're talking about the human ego. All problems are tied to the human ego, and this problem here is tied to the human ego. So now what do we really want to talk about, Tom? Or you don't even have a topic?
What do we want to talk about? I'll tell you what we want to talk about.
Yeah? As he's sucking on a water.
Don't want to do it.
Don't make him laugh. It hurts.
Oh, it fucking hurts, man. I don't know what's the topic.
Tom doesn't know. Janine doesn't know. I was away in Sydney last week. Anyway, let me just tell you what the topic is. The topic is, well, I was in Sydney last week, right? And I want to talk about the idea of investing in yourself. And so I basically went to Sydney last week, but what you've got to do is you've got to peel that back and sort of ask the question, why were you in Sydney? So what happened was there was an article in the newspaper. And basically this newspaper article said, some people call it paper, but it's paper, said that how do you double or triple your income in 90 minutes? And it was all about this idea of what they call speaking from stage. Now, obviously that's not everybody's cup of tea, not even my cup of tea, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to go along and check it out. So I did that. And one of the things, if you're a new person, is that, as Tom's shaking his head because the dog's wagging its tail. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that whenever you go to a seminar, a free seminar, you have to understand that it's all, the reason you go there, okay, you can go there to learn, but part of the reason is that they're going to be selling you something. And so I went along to this seminar. There was probably, I would estimate, 200 people there, and I knew that they were going to be selling something. Have you guys experienced this?
Oh, yes.
You have?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that. What's your
What,
experience?
you go along to a seminar and they try to
Give me
sell
the
you
detail. Be a little bit more vague, explicit.
Well, that used to happen all the time when we years ago, I'm trying to think how many years ago. We did Amway for 10 years, and they used to have their functions, and their speakers would always be selling something, promoting something. Their book, their video, their courses. It was always those sorts
Your
of things.
experience of that, Tom?
We went to Bretwood Fall, our first internet marketing seminar. Oh, you're a fuck. Nah, dude.
When Tom and I went to our first seminar together, it wasn't our first one, it might have been our second or third, but we ended up investing, / underline that word, investing $3,000 to start that course. Yeah, we did. But we knew, I sort of knew that it was coming pretty well. And so I went along to this course and this seminar rather, and it turned out that I was very, that's 3 veries, the phone's ringing, but there's just pandemonium here at Christmas time. There was 3 veries there, very interested in what this guy was talking about. In a nutshell, what he was talking about was the concept of branding and product creation. He talked about the idea of productizing your knowledge. Coming back to the main point, how do you make 2 to 3 times your income in 90 minutes? How do you do that? And the simple answer, long story short, was learning how to speak from stage, which is what they call a live event. Again, not everybody's cup of tea, but it's really important to know if you're listening to this podcast that it exists and it's there and it's real and it can be a learned process.
Why isn't it your cup of tea? Why is that? Why is it not people's cup of tea?
Well, I just told you before that all things are tied to the ego, and it's fear of what people are going to think, fear of what people might say. I think that's pretty well what it is. We're not, have a think about all our education. Tell me when they got you up to speak out of all those years at school. I can remember once, I think in the whole 14 years, pretty well. It was in secondary school. I think it was in secondary school. Yourself?
Yeah, I did it all the time.
You did all the time?
Oh yeah, they always made you do it.
Really?
But I feel like I care what people think in certain areas. But for example, like I have no fashion sense. If I go out with friends, I don't know what to wear. I've got no clothes. I get a bit self-conscious about that. I'm thinking, what do people think? But as soon as you talk about what people think when you get up on stage, I have no fear of that. I don't know why. It's like I just because in my head logically, if you're speaking at a seminar, everybody's there for you. They're not going to be bagging. They're going to be cheering you, even if you're terrible. Even if you're terrible, that guy Michael Katzis on the Peter Sun guy had nothing to say. He was red in the face, sweating like crazy, nothing to say. He even said, "Oh, I haven't prepared for this talk." Why are you there then, you moron?
Anyway,
and you know
if you're
says?
Michael Katzis listening to this, you're a great guy, Michael. I did ring you.
We have to bloody qualify everything. Anyway, he had nothing to say. And you know what? All the people were cheering him. If I can just support him. So I just have zero fear of that, because even if you're absolutely a bozo, haven't prepared, got nothing to say, people are still going to cheer for you.
Like the guy that was going to get up to speak, and he was thinking he had to go to the toilet.
Right?
He had to go to the toilet, and then he's getting a bit nervous, and he thought, "Oh, geez, I've got to drop one here," and he followed through, shat his pants, and he had to get up on stage and tell everybody that, "Excuse me, everybody, I've just shat my pants." So he took 10 minutes to get organised, and he came back and he had a standing ovation.
See?
Anyway, back to the point. The point was, I went to this seminar and I knew that there was going to be what they call an upsell, or there's going to be an offer put on the table. Tom's just spewing his water up on the table. And so basically the price that was put down on the actual night was, I think it was about $8,000. So put yourself in my shoes. You're sitting there, you're enjoying the content. Yes, you agree with what he says. Yes, you would like it, and he says $8,000. What would you do? Anyway, so as the evening rolled on, I watched this particular guy go through a process of selling, which I'd never seen before. And I was trying to take notes, and I was trying to observe. I got lost in the wash. I sort of suspect that from what he was doing, my estimate is that he made $100,000, or he sold $100,000 worth of stuff on the night. So in that 2 hours, I reckon he sold $100,000. Now he has to split that with the promoter, 50-50, so 50,000. So even if I'm half wrong and he made $25,000 in 2 hours, well, let's just halve it again. I mean, you just try to get your head around that. It's just quite incredible. Even if I just go down to that level, if to make $12,000, I'm just halving and halving again, and I don't even know. But that's 3 months' work for the average person, and this guy did it in 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I signed up, and I invested $4,000. We had to pay another $1,500 to get me there and get me back. So let's say $5,500. So I went on a journey and I invested $5,500 to sort of go from not learning how to, but learning what to do. And it was 30 hours of intense training. 3 days, 10 hours a day. And so that's the question, would you pay $5,500 to listen to a person who actually knows how to make, and this guy had made £500,000 in less than 2 hours, and he had to split half with the promoter. So even if that's £250,000, I think that's mind-boggling. I think that's a total whole new way of looking at things, don't you think?
Not really.
Not really?
No.
What do you think, Janine?
Well, I don't think it's a totally whole new way to think, because I think we've been aware that you can
We've
make
been
that.
aware of it for 5 years now.
So yeah, so I don't think it's a whole new way of thinking.
Dad's just asking how long he's trying to.
Oh, I'm trying to give hand signals here about how long, and you just tell everybody that I'm trying to.
Trying to hide it for some reason. There's 4 minutes left. 3 minutes left.
I think the difference probably is that people probably sometimes will go and spend $100 to hear somebody speak. Are they getting, and are you getting information that's relative to that $100? You're going to spend $5,000. Are you getting the information that's relevant to $5,000? That's the scary part, isn't it?
Scary?
That's the scary part for people.
Well, maybe it is. And I guess looking at this is that what I think we should all be open to, doesn't matter where we're at, is the idea of human potential. What is human potential? What is your human potential? What are the things that hold you back? Why do they hold you back? I think that's worth an investigation. Because even if it took you 2 years to do that investigation and to work out what it was that you think holds you back, then even if it took you 4 years to actually get free mentally, it's worth it. But so many people are stuck in the past. They're stuck with what he said, she said.
Would you agree that a lot of people don't even realise that they're stuck?
If you're asking me if that is outside their awareness, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. I think most people, and me included, I know my
Well, it has to be.
process.
Doesn't it have to be outside their awareness? Or else they change something.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's what I would think.
People just get busy doing day to day, running around, and they just go running around.
How many people in the world are aware that you can make $50,000 in a month? How many people are aware you can do that? You say that to somebody, they'll just say, "Oh, what? That makes sense."
I think you've got to. I try to look at it like this. Only look at what they call the OECD countries, the Organisation of Economic Cooperation and Development. They're the countries. They're the big countries. They're the first world countries. You can't. It's not really worth talking about the other countries. The dog's just come in. Tom's shaking his head. It's pandemonium. So we talk about the big countries, and I don't know what the population is in them out of the 7 billion people. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's 2 billion or what. But even in that upper echelon of countries, the world lacks what?
Awareness? I don't know.
Yeah, self-esteem. They lack self-esteem. Where does that come from? It comes from their past. It comes from their environment. It comes from their associations generally. I'm a product of that. I was brought up by someone who was very conservative, didn't talk about money. Taught me that basically, or not taught me, but said that it was all about safety.
safety and security.
Safety and security. So I had
And
to.
that was a reflection of your father's upbringing because he'd grown up during the war and the depression.
That's right.
years.
Not saying it's right. Not saying it's wrong. It was just what it was. And so everybody has those associations. They have that. They have the environment they have to deal with. And so I'm proud of being able to break through different mindsets, different processes, different lines of thinking. To be now talking on this podcast and saying, have you ever thought about the idea of making $500,000 in 90 minutes? That's a real mind bender, I think, for most people.
Oh no, for most people, yes.
And we're even telling you how it's done. So how are we going here? Is we
Wrap it up.
all right? So I know I've done most of the speaking here. Tom's had his teach reamed. Couple of months ago, I had my reamed, and we've got Janine here just finishing up. Oh, have a look at her look on her face. I mean, what is that?
You know what
Come
I feel
on.
like? I feel like this podcast, just let ourselves out a little bit more. I'm happy about that because it's real. People relate to that.
It's like
They will.
really.
They will.
So just winding it
You
up.
think other
It's
people aren't making these jokes, Mum? I mean, come on.
It's Phil
It's
Matthew
really-
signing off, and who else have we got here?
Really?
What's your name again?
I'm Batman.
Tom.
I'm Batman.
And Batman over here. And what's your name?
Genevieve.
Genevieve in my dreams. Hope you got something out of that.
See ya.
If you're going to think at all, think big.